cleaning. Michelle?
Yep, so, we have on this side of the table, or this side of the highway, I should say, administration has been very dissatisfied with our cleaning services. They say they're coming, we leave all the inner offices open, they don't show up, and we're not the only ones who have keys to the building, as you know. So we are looking to, hire some new cleaners, and we're asking for your approval to do so.
I'll need a motion on that.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Here's a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
B, on a property acquisition, and Eric, you built a resolution around this?
Yes, so, we're hopeful to go to closing on the, I'm gonna say it wrong,
Gail.
Kale property, in February, or February 15th or before. We know that the title company will ask for, a resolution that both approves the purchase as well as designates who are the proper representatives of the township to sign documents. So this resolution really authorizes that, so that the title company knows that the people sitting at the table are properly authorized to sign the settlement documents when that happens. But we're hopeful that it will happen before your next meeting, I believe, right? So,
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question on that.
yep.
It says here, the president and the township manager should do all things reasonable and necessary to carry out the purpose of this purchase agreement. Do we have a final purchase agreement?
Yes.
I'd like to see that,
Okay.
okay? I don't know if there's deed restrictions in it, I don't know anything about the agreement. And I think they should be reworded that the board has to approve.
Well, you are approving it, so you're approving the buyer, the property, and the price, and then really what you're just authorizing the people to show up to settlement. So I don't want all five of you to have to show up to closing.
I understand that, but I want to review any documents beforehand.
Okay.
And I'd like a copy of the purchase agreement. Is there any deed restrictions or anything I should be aware of?
Don't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
I just
No,
don't remember.
I mean,
there are restrictions.
well,
on
there
that.
are restrictions because you got a grant from DCNR to purchase
That's
the
what I would've
vacant
said.
part of the property, but the only, I think it says we can keep the garage that we left standing, but it can only be used for storage of open space equipment. So that's the only restriction that I can think of.
Well, I'd
Was
like
on the
to have.
front.
We had to knock down the building to buy it.
Right.
Yeah, we have to knock down the buildings, yes.
All right, I'd like a copy.
Again, the county money is really where that differentiates that. I thought that was common knowledge on that. So,
The question that I have is, I don't understand why the township manager just can't handle the whole situation.
Well, here's why I write it this way. I was in a situation at a closing where the resolution simply said that the president of the board had the power to sign. The president of the board was sick. So I'm sitting there saying, well, the rest of you aren't authorized to sign. So really what this does is allow president and manager, and if one of them can't show up, the president can call one of the rest of you to show up so that we all, any one of the six of you can show up and be authorized to sign.
Okay, but what does this mean about individually, the president of the board and the township manager and blah, blah, blah? To deliver the documents on behalf of the township in substantially the form, I mean, can't Michelle just do that?
That's what I'm saying. What if Michelle's sick and she can't show up to closing? Then we have to delay
No,
closing.
I'm
everybody else-
but I'm asking to deliver the documents, are you saying deliver the documents at the closing?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
show up and sign them at closing.
Then
That's what it means.
wasn't very, it's not very, let's
Understood.
just say, maybe I needed a summary
Yeah.
on how you're wording all this.
So this is, Dave's probably seen these before at closing. This is a normal type of thing for a corporation to do for a closing.
Okay,
So,
So I need a motion on the property resolution.
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 774.
Is there a second? Hearing a second for discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carries.
Dave, if I don't get you, so reach out to me, I'll get you that again right away. It's in my system,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
just if
think
one of
it's-
us don't get it to you, just.
I have it, I'll send it.
Yep.
I'll send it from my phone.
New business C, this is back on Moyer Road, it's, one of the things that Chad had actually taken a look at the top of his do list on roads. And he was talking to Michelle about it, and you may recall that this is a very curvy road, and we were looking to have two different options on that, which one would be to pave it, and then the other one is to pave it and straighten it. So Michelle, you have any more on that?
No, just so the board understands that it's not a complete straightening, if you look at the diagram that, we got, it's not a complete straightening, just so you understand. And again, you can see, Chad's summary and recommendations, and then also, there's some information, like a summary of the 2024 paving project, so, and this could turn into a 2-year project depending on which options you choose once it goes out for bid. So all we're asking you to do is authorize the engineering design, because if you are going to consider, not realigning, but, yeah, realigning the road, not straightening, we have to do some engineering design work first, so, in order to be able to put it out for bid.
Okay, so when we vote on this, this is to have Chad, to set up the options for us, so we can see exactly what's entailed. So I'll need a motion on that.
You'll still have to authorize it to go out to bid, and then you'll still have to approve the bids when they come back, but you'll have the two different options. One is just to pave and overlay, the second would be to realign and pave and overlay.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second, more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Carries.
All right, I'm for it.
I got you.
Item D, new business, that is the Schrank property sign that Greg mentioned earlier. The sign design is in your packet as well, so we will just need a motion to go forward so Open Space can purchase that sign.
I looked at this and it's $52.50 for that sign. I thought that was an incredible amount of money. But,
That's about what they cost.
well, my wife told me the Crown Farm sign costs $4,200.
Wow, how long ago did we install crop farm?
It's been a while since we bought one. This one's a little bigger than the smallest one. We can save $1,000 by Public Works installing it ourselves, so take $1,000 off of that price. And we were also looking to solicit some donations for the sign, and also we need to spend a little bit of money for our share of the grant.
Okay.
That's right, I forgot about the thing.
So I need a motion
I'll
for,
make that motion.
is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second, any more discussion?
Greg, this design, you guys approve this design, I'm not gonna
This
come,
Yeah,
is
it's all
just like
uniform.
all of our other
Yeah,
signs, it's just
consistent.
the wording is changed.
I'm gonna, okay.
We came up with the name of Schwank Woods.
So, I'll ask for vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. New business E, last item on the agenda, you should have your appointment list in front of you, essentially the same one as we turned last year, or for the term last time. Let's go through these, well, it'll be a simple nominating piece, other than the zoning hearing board, which needs to be by resolution that Eric has sent out. So, looking at the 4 standing committees first of all, if you take a look at term ends, we'll talk each one of the Jan 2024s and also the in-depths. So just to start with the standing committee, the first 4 on the list, I've talked to each one of the chairmen. They decide whether they want to maintain the folks that are on there, or if they want to nominate somebody else. What we'll do is go through and I'll nominate the ones that they wanted, which essentially are the same ones. And if anybody else has a different person they want to nominate for each one of those committees, we'll then vote for that. So right now, if you look at civil service, Tyrone Parker, he agreed to continue to serve. The next one is Sherry Paul for open space, she could agree to continue to serve. We'll skip zoning hearing board. Then going over to property maintenance code appeals board, Greg Chirk has agreed to serve as well. So I'm gonna make a Is there any objection to each one of those individuals continuing to serve? Hearing no objection, they're all approved for those positions. Now, moving to the zoning hearing board. I'll need a motion on this one, and Bob Anthony has agreed to continue to serve on that. So that's Jan 2024, and that is a 3-year term. So I'll need a motion for Robert.
That's a motion to approve resolution 775 for that appointment.
775.
Yes.
I'm sorry, are we approving the resolution first, then the appointment, or?
Well, the resolution,
This approves the
yeah, the resolution approves the appointment.
You have to
Okay.
do zoning hearing board by resolution.
Okay, that's fine.
Which one was this one?
This is zoning hearing board,
Bottom.
Bob Anthony, the last one.
Okay.
And you do have a copy of the resolution in your packet as well.
Okay.
Is there a motion for Bob Anthony?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
And just be clear, that's for resolution 775.
Yes.
Yeah,
motion to
exactly.
approve resolution.
Which effective is what Trace said.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? And thank you for these 4 standing committees. These guys are volunteers. They take some stuff, a lot of times, and sometimes it's gotten out of hand, these committee meetings. But I told each one of the chairmen on these that they're very appreciative. One item on the zoning hearing board, they wanted me to relay, they do not want the last alternate in there reappointed, so that will just fall off, and they're adamant about that. If you move to page 2, special township appointees, these are the special appointees, so if you look at the indefinite ones on there, is there any objection for any of those folks going forward and continue on? Hearing none, they will continue to move forward. The next one is a vacancy board, that's a Dave Stockman. That is our only 1-year term. He's agreed to continue on in that status. So Dave's nominated for a vacancy board. All in favor, say aye.
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 Against? Motion carries. The page 3 is the professional services. If you go down the list, each one is either indefinite or contractual. So the solicitor, Eric, litigation, that's still Andy Belfour. Solicitor, of our 4 standing committees, 3 of those are actual judicial committees, civil service committee, zoning hearing board, and the maintenance review board as well. And Bob Brant's associate is doing that, and the attorneys that work with these boards, and they would like to keep her in that job. Her name is Devin Ralph, with Bob's firm. Auditor contractually, that's going on right now. The Aikens contract ends this year. Barb's kind of indicated she may not want to do that, so we'll have to be looking for another auditor next year. Engineers, LTL, continue on. CVE will continue on as we approve their letter. Pension fund investor, that's CBiz. Actuarial, that's Foster and Foster. Then animal control, we actually moved to a contract with them. Is there any objection for any of those folks not continuing on? Hearing none, then they all are appointed. External promotions, these are all the 2-year terms. Most of these would be by a chairman appointment, but I've always gone forward and had folks nominate people and vote on these. The first one up is Possum Area Regional Recreation Committee. Their nomination.
I nominate Mark McKinney.
Mark McKinney is nominated. Is there any other nominations?
Yes, I nominate Kathy Peretti.
Kathy Peretti is nominated. Any more nominations? All in favor of Mark McKinney, say aye. Aye. All in favor of Kathy, say aye.
Aye.
3-2, Mark is appointed. The next item is Possum Area Recreation Committee alternate. Greg Church has volunteered to continue to serve on that. I nominate Greg. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. The next three were, other than, the next, Pottsville Recreation Board and also Pottstown Recreation Committee, I hadn't heard back from Michelle Thompson yet. So that will remain open, the one above it will remain open, so Pottsville Recreation Board will remain open. I have a nominee for Pottsville Metropolitan Regional Planning Committee. Wayne Weaver, got back with me, and he's agreed to serve in that capacity. So I nominate Wayne for that particular position.
I nominate Dave Wall.
Dave Wall is nominated. All in favor of Wayne Weaver, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All in favor,
This is Metropolitan Region.
okay, with three.
Is this two
Okay.
appointments? Is it two, it's two slots, right?
Yeah. And, so it was 3-2. Wayne is appointed. The last one, I want to keep that one open as well. I have some do-outs for folks. If anybody else has any nomination, for those three items that are now vacant, we'll do that in the future.
Just a question, I see my name's on there as a position holder, I think I've done a horrible job on that, and I am no longer on that committee, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
That concludes the appointments. Public comments.